Hello, hello. What if I told you that in 1 week you can change your whole thought process about losing weight? Well, stick around because I am going to tell you how using Manjaro did that for me. I've been overweight pretty much my entire life. I guess if you consider overweight being chunky and chubby and thick, that's me. And as a child, I was a chunky little child, and then I just always had issues with overeating food. It was just the joy and pleasure of all things carbs, which I like to say a lot because I've always been a heavy carb eater. And over the years, it has caught up with me for sure. A year and a half ago, maybe even two, I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And when I got the diagnosis, it scared me. I always hovered in the pre diabetic range for a long time. And I thought, I'm never going to get diabetes. I'm going to stay in that pre diabetic range. And I think my 50th birthday celebration with all things sweet put me over the top. That year, when I went to my doctor for a regular checkup, I had an A1C of 7.6%, and I was in shock. When my doctor told me that I was a diabetic, I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work out. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do all the things I need to do. And I've done it before. I've been on so many diets before. I just knew that this wasn't going to stop me. I was also going to be able to lose it this time. That did not happen. That following summer, my doctor suggested that I take Ribelsis. And when I got on Ribelsis, I couldn't believe I was taking it. It was a pill. It's Ozempic in a pill form. And my doctor tried to get me to take Ozempic, and I just was so afraid of the needle. I thought, there's no way I'm doing that. I eventually took the Ribelsis. It didn't really agree with me. It made me nauseous, made me not feel like doing anything really. So I told my doctor, there's no way I can do this. I am going to do this on my own. I don't need help. I'm just going to do it because I'm determined because I didn't want to be a type 2 diabetic. And that didn't happen either. By the time February rolled around, I went back to my doctor's office and she said, since the Ozempic didn't agree with you or the Ribelsis, she said they have a new medication for type 2 diabetics. And one of the side effects of that is losing weight. And she said, and I think you should take it. I think you'll do a better job. She told me it had two mechanisms to fight appetite suppression and to regulate thinking about food in your brain. And she thought I was a perfect candidate to take it. But the only downside is I have to do what I never wanted to do, which is take that injection, right? I was so afraid of that needle. And I said, you know what? I have not been able to do this on my own. If this is going to help me with my appetite suppression, I got to take the chance and do it. And I left out of that office with my prescription. And I thought, am I going to go through with this? All the way up until I got to the pharmacy and actually paid for the prescription, which my insurance, thank God, my insurance covers it. All the way up until I got to the pharmacist and actually got that box of Mounjaro. I didn't know if I was really gonna take it. I thought, "What if I get home and see that needle and get so scared?" I got the box of Mounjaro, I got home, and all I was thinking was, "I'm not gonna tell anybody," and I did what I always do when there's, like, a diet situation. Instead of starting on Monday, I started on Saturday. I thought, "Saturday is a perfect day," because some of the side effects I was told that you would get would be constipation, nausea, very tired. I could possibly be sick, or you could get constipation, or you could have diarrhea. And so I thought, if this is going to make me feel anything at all, like that Ribelsis, where I felt nauseous and tired and bloated, I can't function at work like this. So I thought if I took it on a Saturday, took my injection on a Saturday, that I would feel better by Monday and I would be ready for work. And I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to function on Monday. So let me just set this up for you because when I was taking that injection, it was me, it was my walls, and it was whatever was playing on my TV. And I just thought, am I really doing this? Am I really doing this? When I took that first injection, I was at 306.4. 306.4. And that's what I kept thinking when I was taking it out the box, reading the instructions. And all I was thinking was, if I don't lose weight, that's okay, as long as it lowers my A1C. I also remember thinking to myself, if this doesn't work, I'm ditching this thing by the time school's out, which is June for me. And I just was having doubts in my mind. I had doubts in my mind. I wasn't sure that this was going to do it. All the diets that I had been on all my life, I thought it all comes down to this. And if this didn't work, what was I going to do? But I had no time to think about that because I had to psych myself up to take this injection. Now, I've always taken my injection up until I would say, I can't remember the exact date, but I did document and write things down, which is another thing I would tell you you probably should do if you're new to this journey. I would start documenting and writing things down. I was doing my injection in my belly until around June, July-ish when I started rotating back between the thighs. And I started doing that because I would hear people say when you change your injection site, you might see more of a weight loss. And so eventually I ended up doing that. But for the first week and following months, I was always rotating around my belly. And I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I was able to go to work on Monday, I was able to function, and I was waiting for the pin to drop. So, to prepare for this injection, though, let me tell you, when I was in that pharmacist and standing in line, I had a bunch of stuff in my hand. And what did I have in my hand, you may ask me? Everything under the sun, just in case I were to get nauseous, I got something. Just in case I had diarrhea, I was prepared. Just in case I had acid reflux, I was prepared. So, all the things, and I'm going to show you up here what they are. Look at that. Look at all the things that I purchased. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably my one regret because most of that stuff I never even opened. So, I'm going to look at the expiration date and see if I'm still able to even use those. But I was prepared, right? I was prepared. So even though I didn't use those things, I wanted to prepare myself, right? Because I knew I still had to take care of my daughter, who's 7, and I'm busy with her. And I also had to be able to function at work. And I made it through that night. I took it close tonight. I thought if I'm going to have any kind of side effect, maybe I'll sleep through it. And so that's what made me take it at night. And I was up going to the restroom more so than normal. And that's saying a lot because I am 52. If I didn't say that already, I'm perimenopausal. And also I have what? High blood sugar, right? Because I'm a diabetic. So going to the restroom, I was no stranger to that. But I felt like I feel like even to this day, like I'm probably still going more than I should at night, unless I'm just super duper tired. I think that's one of the things that the medication was doing. And I made it through the first night though. I thought, if this is how this is going to be, maybe I have this. Maybe I have this in the bag. So, how did I eat? My doctor never really told me to stop eating anything. She just said, just eat a balanced diet, try to get that fiber in to combat the constipation. You want to make sure you're going. She just told me, just do my regular thing. It's going to cut my appetite back. So we never focused on a lot of lifestyle changes like, cutting carbs or cutting out fried foods or any of that. I think she just thought at 52, I should know this. And this doctor has not been my lifelong doctor. My doctor before her retired. And so this lady probably had been my doctor maybe for a year and a half. So she didn't know me as well, but she knew me enough to give me that appetite suppressant. So I was glad about that. I was glad about that because I probably would just be finding out about Mounjaro right now if she hadn't told me that. When I injected myself, I couldn't believe how seamless it went. I thought, is there more to this? Is somebody trying to trick me? Because I followed the directions. It just was so seamless. It didn't hurt. A little bit of blood came out, and I just put a little dab and I looked back down. I thought I was going to see like blood gushing out. Nothing. It was just this little drop. And sometimes I don't even have that little drop. And so I thought, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, I could not believe it. And so I thought, if this is the way my Manjaro journey is going to go, um, I'm elated. I thought, "Wow, this is too good to be true almost." So that was that night. So that night, I didn't have any side effects, but then the next day, I was very fatigued. I will say that. I felt tired, and I was constantly going to the restroom because I was drinking a lot of water. That's also what I knew to do, is to drink a lot of water to just flush my system out because I didn't want to get constipation. But for me, constipation on this Manjaro journey is just, it's gonna happen for me. I only know one other person who said they didn't have constipation on this at all. If you don't have constipation taking a GLP-1, good for you. Put a comment in the chat and let me know what you're doing. And I mean without taking things. So there are things you can take. So let's talk about that. So the things you can take, everybody loves Miralax. Everybody talks about that. That's highly recommended by a lot of doctors. I personally have never taken Miralax on my GLP-1 journey. What I have taken is Colace. I take Colace because it's a stool softener. And I thought one of the things that you'll see on this GLP-1 is that when you go to the restroom, because your digestion is delayed, things can be like hard, like solid as a rock, even. And I wanted to loosen that up. I wanted to loosen that stool up. And so that's why I take the stool softener. And it also works as a stimulant. It says it's not a stimulant, but it says stimulant free, but it has me going. I mean, within 12 hours of me taking it, I am going to the restroom, which leads me to my second constipation fix, and that is Mago 7. And I learned about Mago 7 in these YouTube streets. I heard lots of people in the social media groups talking about Mago 7, and it does work. Also, within 12 hours of me taking the Mago 7, I am able to go to the restroom. So, those are the two. Whatever your constipation fix is of choice, if you find something that works, stick to it. So, I'm going to link the two things I use in the description and feel free to try it out. So, as the week went on my Manjaro journey, week one, I had appetite suppression and I was not thinking about food. And I don't know if you've heard the latest lingo, but food noise is a thing. And food noise means you're constantly thinking about food, which I always was. I was thinking about what my next meal was going to be. If I was thinking about pizza, what I was going to have on my pizza. If I was going out to dinner, what I was going to have at dinner. And not to count the calories, but to just enjoy all the food I could enjoy. And so I just had that food noise. I think that's a great term for it. And that was cut out. As the week went by, I'm thinking, I think I can do this. I think I can survive on my Mounjaro journey. If it's gonna be like this, I got this in the bag. But in the back of my mind, I've been on so many diets over the course of my years, I'm still thinking, "Can I really do this?" And the rest of my week went by pretty smooth. Made up in my mind that week that I wasn't gonna tell anybody because I didn't know what was gonna happen, right? I thought, if I can make it till my week 1 and feel fine and feel safe and not feel like I was going to be rushed to the hospital with all the scary things you hear out there about being on a GLP-1. I thought, if I can make it through this week, I'll decide what I'm going to do. And at the end of the week, I got on that scale. I was down 4 pounds. I was down 4 pounds. I was so excited. And I thought, if the rest of my time on Manjaro is going to be anything like this first week, I got this in the bag. I got this in the bag. And in addition to that, I had a little bit more energy. And I always like to say I had a little bit more pep in my step. And right away, one of the best things about it is I wasn't going to bed stuffed. I had cut off my eating at 7 o'clock. That's probably one of the first things I did to start that ball rolling of being successful on Manjaro. The biggest surprise for me that first week was I lost 4 pounds. The challenging thing for me that week was getting over that mindset of I'm going to have to inject, but the injection was so smooth. So I would say to you, if you are watching this video and you are on your first week of taking Manjaro, get a lot of protein in there, but also remember, go behind that protein. You got to have lots of water because water keeps you going to the restroom. It keeps you regular, and that's what's going to flush everything out. And I would say count those calories. I know you might not want to count calories, but I did keep track of what I was eating. And at this point, I was eating 1,800 calories. So if you don't want to track your calories, I would take pictures of your food or write down what you're eating, because when you get to the end of that week and you see however much weight you lost, you'll have a reference. If you lost 5 pounds, this is what I ate to lose 5 pounds. If you lost 4 pounds, this is what I ate to lose 4 pounds. And that's going to help guide you on your road to success. So, if you're thinking about starting Mounjaro or you're already on it, drop down below in my comments and let me know. I think you should talk to your doctor, check out your options, and get started. Get started on your journey if you can right away. I don't think you're going to regret it. I think you're going to find that it's going to be an experience that can be potentially life changing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.